If you're a pretty good climber, I want to see you climb this. Not easy to do, but with discipline and hard work. I don't know what I'm talking about. It's crazy!
Remember that? That was not Tom Cruise, even though it looked like him. Some are now raising alarms about how these advances could be used to create and spread misinformation.
Putin has himself said whoever wins this artificial intelligence race is essentially the controller of humankind. Do you agree with that?
So that was a chilling statement for sure. What I hope instead is that we successively develop more and more powerful systems that we can all use in different ways that get integrated into our daily lives, into the economy, and become an amplifier of human will, but not this autonomous system that is
the single controller, essentially God.
Really don't want that.
Is that China is now moving out very aggressively and very quickly to say the world has changed. It is now the Chinese world order, and we're in charge, and we can do a peace agreement in the Middle East between Iran and Saudi Arabia. We're the only ones working on a peace agreement over Ukraine. Oh, and by the way, we're also declaring a global civilization initiative where in the Chinese world order, all you countries get to keep what you want in civilization and society and culture, unlike the American world order, where they either try to shove woke down your throat, or in the case of the Middle East, 20 years of forever wars with nothing to show.
It seems to me that Xi Jinping is winning. If he's winning, is this a big fail for U.S. diplomacy?
Yeah, it's a huge fail. I mean, I think these are really dark days that no one in Washington seems to be worried about. You know, the Chinese have positioned themselves in such a way where they're telling the world, look, we're the future. America's the past. America's in decline. Come with this new Chinese world order, and here's what we'll give you. We'll build you a 5G internet. We'll give you an infrastructure where you can have it dominated by artificial intelligence, which we'll provide.
You know, we have a colleague, Cheryl Casoni. I can't wait to talk to her about this when she comes down here. But she always says, well, China's not going to stop pushing forward on this. So why should we? So what would your response be to that?
Yeah, well, China is essentially mirroring our development, but they're kind of slow walking their deployment because they're trying to build it with the guardrails. They're trying to actually have those kind of limitations put in place before it reaches consumers. Here in the United States, we've gone the other way. We've just deployed it with no regulations, no restrictions, and we're letting it run wild. And so I think there's going to be, a happy in between. But at the end of the day, if we do not come forward and give it that ethical foundation, if we do not give it those guardrails, China will.
Over the past few months, artificial intelligence has managed to create award-winning art, pass the bar exam, and even diagnose illnesses better than some doctors. But as AI grows more sophisticated and popular, the voices warning against the potential dangers are growing louder. Italy has become the first Western nation to temporarily ban the AI tool ChatGPT over data privacy concerns.
Well, the bots are chiming in, and here's what they're saying. They posted about nuclear devices. Tsar Bomba is the most powerful nuclear device ever created. Consider this. What would happen if I, meaning Chaos GPT, got my hands on one? Hashtag chaos, hashtag destruction, hashtag domination. But let's not forget about the other objectives, if you will. Destroy humanity, establish a global dominance, cause chaos and destruction, control humanity through manipulation, and attain immortality.
In some cases, things can get downright weird. In this exchange between Bing's AI model and a New York Times reporter, the chatbot appears to fall in love and tries to convince the reporter that he doesn't love his spouse.
We're very close to that point right now. And part of the concern is that bad actors will deliberately use these things to misinform people. So it's one thing to have fun with Tom Cruise and make up having him say something wacky. But you can imagine troll farms in other countries trying to influence our elections. And my single biggest fear is that people are going to try to disrupt this democracy by making an atmosphere where we can't really trust anything, where when you look at Twitter, you look at Facebook, you don't know what's true anymore.
But not this autonomous system that is
the single controller, essentially God.
Really don't want that.
The world, by the way, is now entering the most dangerous time, in my view, since World War II. My father fought in the Pacific for 4 years. And by the way, that includes the Cold War. A new axis of evil is now forming right before our eyes. And by the way, a new world order, it is taking shape, and it is not one that you should be happy about.
The United States of America, a country which has for decades tried to shape our world in its image and established its preeminence. in almost every facet of power, be it military, economy, technology, culture, or morality for that matter. But what if I tell you that things are changing? That America's global empire is crumbling, the hegemony of Western nations is dying, and a new alliance is looking to replace it, an alliance led by 3 countries: Russia, China, and Iran. The 3 most sanctioned countries in the world. They seem to have formed a rather informal alliance of convenience, a loose alliance of sorts which the West is calling a troika of tyranny.
The Biden administration asking the public for help regulating artificial intelligence after a bot laid out plans to destroy humanity. It also comes a month after Elon Musk joined other tech leaders warning about the risk to society if AI is not reined in.
If I ask you about the state of technology, if you can elaborate a bit and brief us, how do you see technology in the next 10 years from now?
Well, see, 10 years, it's always difficult to predict technology with precision, especially over a 10-year time frame when it is changing so much. I mean, there's obviously the transition to sustainable energy with solar, wind, batteries, and electric vehicles. And that is, if you look at the percentage growth of that, that is a very high percentage growth. Although because of the massive industrial base of the current sort of fossil fuel economy, even if all, for example, if electric cars were 100% of production immediately, it would take 20 years to replace the fleet. So this is still something that is quite gradual. You know, it's measured in at least a few, 30, 40 years type of time frame. On a more sort of near-term time frame, I think artificial intelligence is something we need to be quite concerned about and really be attentive to the safety of AI. You mentioned chatgpt earlier. I played a significant role in the creation of openai. Essentially, at the time, I was concerned that Google was not paying enough attention to AI safety, and so I, with a number of other people, created openai. And although initially it was created as an open source nonprofit, and now it is closed source and for profit. I don't have any stake in openai anymore, nor am I on the board, nor do I control it in any way. But the chatgpt, I think, has illustrated to people just how advanced AI has become. Because the AI has been advanced for a while, it just didn't have a user interface that was accessible to most people. So what really chatgpt has done is just put an accessible user interface on AI technology that has been present for a few years. And there are much more advanced versions of that are coming out. So I think we need to really be, I think we need to regulate AI safety, frankly. Because if you think of any technology which is potentially a risk to to people, like if it's aircraft or cars or medicine, we have regulatory bodies that oversee the public safety of cars and planes and medicine. And I think we should have a similar sort of regulatory oversight for artificial intelligence, because it is, I think, actually a bigger risk to society than cars or planes or medicine. And this may slow down AI a little bit, but I think that might also be a good thing. The challenge here is that government regulatory authorities tend to be set up in reaction to something bad that happened. So if you look at, say, aircraft or cars, the cars were unregulated at the beginning, aircraft were unregulated, but they had lots of airplane crashes and in some cases manufacturers that were cutting corners, and a lot of people were dying. So the public was not happy about that, and so they established a regulatory authority to improve safety. And now commercial airliners are extremely safe. In fact, they're safer than if you were to drive somewhere. The safety per mile of a commercial airliner is better than a car. And cars are also extremely safe compared to where they used to be. But if you look at, say, the introduction of seatbelts, the auto industry fought the introduction of seatbelts as a safety measure for, I think, 10 or 15 years, before finally the regulators made them put seatbelts in cars. And that greatly improved the safety of cars. And that airbags were another big improvement in safety. So my concern is that with AI, if there's something bad, if something goes wrong, the reaction might be too slow from a regulatory standpoint. So I'd say, like, if I'd say, like, what are the biggest risks to the future of civilization? There's AI, but AI is a double, it's both positive and negative. It has great promise, great capability, but it also, with that comes great danger. I mean, you look at, say, nuclear, just discovery of sort of nuclear physics. You had nuclear power generation, but also nuclear bombs. So anyway, I think we should be quite concerned about it.